Gangsters in Los Angeles have told Sky News they believe an end to one of the oldest and bloodiest gang wars in the world is close. The battle between the Bloods and the Crips has left thousands dead over the last 40 years.
Now, reformed members are breaking the cycle of revenge attacks and persuading young people to stay out of gang life. Our US correspondent Greg Milam has been inside the Crips gang and on patrol with the Los Angeles Police Department.
Still a little cool here in Southern California, 46 downtown LA right now. It's warmed into the 50s.
A city defined by fame and glamour, but like any other, Los Angeles has its dark side. And what lies beneath in the City of Angels, in the words of one crime writer, is as bad as there is. The police here say it's the nation's gang capital. Neighborhoods like Compton, Inglewood and Watts, made famous by rappers, made notorious by deadly gang wars.
Yeah, this is it. This is our whole little square area. Manchester to Century, from Prairie to La Brea. Once you pass over on the other side of La Brea, there's Inglewood families again.
The geography of Inglewood is the history of gang crime. It is the world where Kerry has lived his whole life.
And it's crazy because you literally had times where you can walk across the street and have a shootout and then run back across the street and you're back in your neighborhood again.
He is a Crip, a soldier in the vast and complex war that's raged for decades against their rivals, the Bloods.
You wake up every day in it, you go to sleep every day in it, and you never know what the day's gonna bring. We can take a turn here as we start going down the street. So I'll just show you from just waking up and not knowing that today was almost gonna be the last day of my life. Waking up not knowing that today is the day that I wasn't gonna see the streets again for another 16 months. It's crazy. You never know what the next day is gonna bring, but one thing's for sure, something's gonna happen. And 9 out of 10 times it's not gonna be good. The Centinela Hospital right here. Of course, every time we've been shot and everything, I've been shot, stabbed before, always end up here in Centinela Hospital. This is it. This and jail and funerals.
And that story goes back decades.
Somebody came up with a handgun.
In the 90s, gang violence was an epidemic.
Really, really loud, like bam, 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 bam.
Dozens of murders a month, a cycle of revenge killing. But things are changing because the gangsters themselves are turning young people away from violence. In the neighborhood of Watts, they're used to fending for themselves. There's car wash and barbecue, raising money for a local family to pay for a funeral. But a place most famous for its riots in the 60s is now the focus of the war on gangs.
I was shot in the face. If I had to turn the wrong way, this way instead of that way and all that, because it was close range. I was shot 8 with a 45 and 2 with a 38.
Everyone has the scars, the tattoos, but gang elders like Andre, a Crip, now teach the local youth that there is an alternative life.
We was committing our own genocide, you know. Ghettos are self-cleaning ovens. You got to keep them alive first. And when you get to the point where you're keeping them alive, now we can start educating them. Now economics. Economics play a major part, but I still got to keep you alive before I can get to the economic part. Even when you tell a child, you know, don't be like me, do this, and tell them all the positive things, and they don't realize it's visual creatures. So they watching you. They're hearing what you're saying, but they're watching what you're doing. So you have to show them. And you can't get mad at them because you used to be like that. When people used to try to talk to me, I used to say, oh, he a mark, oh, anything negative I could say because I wasn't ready to change, I used to do it. So now that I have changed and I see people still doing what I used to do, I really can't get mad at them. I'm just here for you when you need me and when you come around, and just hope you live through it, or hope you don't be in jail for the rest of your life before that turnaround comes.
Everything good with you? All right, man, just let me know, all right?
This is what it looks like. Elder Big Mike patrolling a school in the Crip heartland of Grape Street, a gang veteran with words of warning.
Just don't get caught up in that, man. Stay clear of all the gangs and stuff like that. You got me?
Yeah.
Check with y'all Monday, all right?
All right.
Okay, all right.
All right.
All right. Bro.
Is it working? Well, on the front line, the LAPD says it is, even if, as we witnessed on one patrol, gang shootings do still happen.
It's kind of an ongoing dispute here. They pull up, they see somebody hanging out, they shoot at him, they hit him, sometimes they miss. This time they hit him in the arm. He's lucky.
Gang crimes like this have halved in 6 years. In those haunts like Compton, local officials talk of a truce between the Bloods and the Crips. The police are skeptical of that.
If it is a war on gangs, do you think it could ever be won?
No, in my opinion, it can't be won. You don't have the manpower as far as officers. You just got to contain it somehow. There's too many gang members. It's a way of life. You just lose that fight.
AM 1460 KTYM, Inglewood, California.
It's a measure of how gangs are part of the fabric here that there's a show called Gang Talk on the radio.
We're infecting these kids, absolutely, but with a peace accord to stabilize their circumstances and give them a chance to live. Right. Really, that's really what we're trying to do. And
Nita Heron had nothing to do with gangs until her home was caught in the crossfire.
After a while, there wasn't any place in the house where I could hide any further. And when that bullet came through the window and hit the top of the floor wall, that's when I got enraged. And I think enraged is a fair word because I took my fear and turned it into activism.
This show is now part of those attempts to break the cycle of violence.
You can't kill it, you can't squash it, and you're not going to arrest your way out of this. What we were trying to do was stop stacking up the pile of dead bodies. Police didn't care about that head count. We did. We did. So we had to push them and force them to allow us to have a chance to do this. And what we discovered, we have the right answer.
Some of them don't even know they're dead.
They don't know they're dead.
So
that involves what she calls the ex-participants, men like Skip Townsend, a man who paints a vivid picture of getting out.
So a lot of people thought that I was homicidal, thought that I was some crazy guy. Actually, I was suicidal. Just imagine me dressing up each and every day to go and be killed, to go out there not knowing if today is my last day. So there was a guy who asked me, do I love my family, my daughters? And I said, yes. He said, would you die for them? And I poked my chest out and said, I'll die for them. He said, are you willing to live for them? So I hadn't understood that at that time. And so for everyone who goes out there and says, I don't care, and they're out in the streets creating some sort of havoc, it's because they gave up on themselves and they gave up on life. Turning point for me, 1998, I'm in LA County Jail facing 2 life sentences followed by 6 years. My father dies, I'm looking for someone to talk to, and I could not have an intelligent conversation in that environment. I knew then that I already had stopped being violent, but I knew then I had to stop hanging around the same people. I had to change the players on the playground, or change my playground altogether.
It's an automatic. It's a 9mm semi-auto Ruger.
There are plenty still out there. Weeks after a gang shooting, we were with police when they arrested the alleged gunman and found the weapon in his sister's home.
He's a known gang member of this area. I guess we surprised him. He opened the front door, he shut it, locked it, went through the back. We got him in the back. She told us where he slept. We went there, found the gun.
People will tell you here that getting arrested often makes you one of the lucky ones.
It was great. Great, great, great boys.
In the space of 52 days, Kathy Wooden lost 2 sons to gang shootings. That drives her own personal war on gangs, which she says can be won.
No, I can't save the world, and I know I can't be a voice everywhere, but I know I can be a voice, and I am a voice in this community. And so the different areas that don't get along, my goal is that we start at least getting along to the point to where we don't shoot each other on sight. But everybody was just in disbelief that Brandon had gotten killed, and you know, losing two kids at such a short time was so devastating.
Do you think there'll ever be a day when that?
Yes.
That violence,
yes.
Be there where that violence is gone?
Yes.
You're confident of that?
I'm confident of that.
Why do you say that?
Because there's too many people on board. There's too many people on board with this. And for those who's not on board with it, they'll be pushed aside.
Back out in Inglewood, Kerry the Crip has a very different opinion.
It's never going to stop. It's just like this saying, besides commit genocide on the gang, there's no way to stop it but just to kill them all. Drop a nuke and wait for the land to clear and start over. That's the only way it would happen. It's like this saying, if you have a roach-infested apartment, you burn the building down if you want to get rid of them all.
But here's why there's some hope. On the same day, we met Kerry on the building site in Hollywood where he's just started work. A lifelong Crip working alongside Terry, a Blood. Two men given the chance of building a new life outside of gang crime.
And even though we out of it, it's never over. People still know your face and you're still known out there in these streets. So it's day by day, just take it. Just do what you can to do right and go on with your life.
It's kind of good. It's good. It got, it's better than I ain't going to jail. I ain't got to worry about the police. Like I hit the helicopter, I probably would have been like this. I ain't got to look over my, well, I still got to watch over my shoulder. It's like he said, still know my face. I got tattoos and stuff.
They reflect on a war that's taken as many as 15,000 lives and how there is a way out for those who want to take it. Greg Milam, Sky News, Los Angeles.
Let's get more on this because joining me now via Skype from the state of Massachusetts in the US is Cesar Cruz, who's the co-founder of the Homies Empowerment Program. So it's great to have you with us here on Sky News tonight. Now, first of all, we should explain that you've won awards because your program has a very fresh approach compared to others. So explain to us exactly how Homies Empowerment works.
Sure. In a nutshell, oftentimes when we hear about gangs, what we hear about is violence and pathology. Well, we theorize that gangs don't have to be just that. When we think about those of us that went off to college and we joined a fraternity or sorority, imagine a gang as a fraternity or sorority for poor people. Imagine a gang as a second family. When you have family members that are sick or that are having a hard time, you don't get rid of your family members. You try to help them out. So Homies Empowerment tries to empower young people that are involved in gangs to be peaceful warriors, to take care of their neighborhood. And we do that through a lot of different mechanisms. And that's, in a nutshell, what we try to do.
Yeah, so you're basically saying that gang membership can be a force for good when you're looking at neighbourhoods like Oakland and Compton, which are, of course, quite deprived. So explain to us in more detail exactly the kind of measures you take, the tactics you employ, and how gang members respond to that.
Sure. So, for example, if we were in Los Angeles and we were looking at Bloods and Crips, what we would do is we would teach what we call knowledge of self classes. Oftentimes, the African-American community and the Latino community in the United States does not ever get to learn its history in U.S. schools. So we begin by teaching young people what their history is. When they begin to know who they are, they have knowledge of self, they begin to have pride in who they are. Then we begin to meet what Maslow talked about, the hierarchy of needs. If a young person is hungry, if they're homeless, if they're struggling, how do we help them meet their material needs in a safe way, in a way that no one has to be violent? So as material needs are being met, as they're learning their history, then we begin to look at our community and say, why does our community look this way? Why are there so many liquor stores and very few community centers? What can we do? Then we take an activist approach of civic engagement and begin to organize. And about 6 months later, we bring these two rivals together where we do something that we've been doing since the beginning of time, which is we break bread. We eat dinner together for the first time, rivals from different gangs, and we call it Homies Dinner. And we begin to learn we have a lot much more in common than we do apart. And that takes time. Not everybody comes. Some people are really scared of that. We've brokered relationships with nonprofits like the YMCA here in the United States to be able to do that work. And it's been powerful to see young people begin to transform their lives and think of themselves as warriors for change in a peaceful way.
So what motivated you to set this up?
I taught history for 15 years in California, and every year I went to more funerals than I ever went to graduations. Every year that broke my heart. I felt like I was going up against a stream. And I just saw that the problems of violence, there's all kinds of violence that I began to understand. Is it violent when there are no food outlets for people? Is it violent when the level of poverty is intense in a particular neighborhood? Is it violent when a community is flooded with guns and drugs? And living in this neighborhood, living in Compton and living in Oakland for 23 years, I realized we have to try something different. And we've tried gang prevention for 60 years. Now, name a gang prevention program that has been completely successful. That doesn't exist. So what if gangs aren't just negative? What if they're not just evil? What if something good could come out of gangs? What if young people could take care of their neighborhoods, not just in California, but in London or in places all over the world? Why should we demonize young people? Why don't we try to understand why they join these places? And that motivated me to begin. And through a lot of trial and error, we landed on the idea, who doesn't want to be around a space where there's love, support, camaraderie, and empowerment? And that's the recipe that we've been cooking up in Homies Empowerment.
Cesar, just briefly, if you will, you're in Massachusetts because you're attending the Harvard Graduate School of Education. How easy has it been there to change perceptions of gangs?
Well, at first it was really difficult because, you know, the international narrative that we have, and all of us, you know, none of us want to live in a society that's violent. But what we talked about, if we all want public safety, maybe there's another way to get to public safety. If young people have their needs met, maybe no one would need to commit a crime per se. Oftentimes crimes that happen in neighborhoods are because people are poor and they're hungry and they're just trying to survive. And so what we have in common at Harvard or anywhere in the world is wanting public safety. And what if we could approach the benefits of public safety through another lens?
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we're out of time. Yes. It's been fascinating to talk to you. Thank you for joining us on Sky News tonight. We wish you well with the programme.
Thank you.